Well, that I can change.
I would be using an existing outlet power switch to power my recessed lighting, and then I would wire it so that the outlet has constant power. To start off, I marked where I wanted each of my holes for the recessed lighting. I decided to put them 2 feet from each wall, which I did by marking the spot with a piece of painter's tape. Since not all 4 walls were 90 degrees, I measured the distance between the 2 holes using a line of twine and then used that measurement for the distance of my wall that wasn't 90 degrees. Like this. The recessed lights that I'm using are these 6-inch ultra-thin LEDs. They are less than a half an inch thick. This way, if there's a beam in the way, they'll still fit. To cut them out, I'm going to use this 6-inch hole saw. I'd also be using a dust bowl to collect the drywall dust that comes from the ceiling. And trust me, the hole saw is extremely sharp, so you need to make sure you are careful while using it. I made sure to shut off the power to the room via the breaker. The tool I'm using to check the voltage is a non-contact voltage tester. If there is power, it will light up and beep. I figured it will be easier to catch and run new wires if I cut out the existing junction box and put in a new one. The new box I'd be putting in had mounts to attach it to the drywall so that I would no longer need to nail it to the stud. After detaching all the wires, I turned the power back on to figure out where the hot line was. You can see the power line as well as a line for the 2 outlets, so it is a bit confusing. After figuring out the hot line, I turned the power back off and used fish tape from the attic to attach the new wire and pull it up for the future lights. I also added a line just in case I wanted to put up a ceiling fan at a later date, which I marked with blue tape. I then fed all the wires into the junction box and secured it to the wall. Next, I attached the power line to the outlet lines so that it would always have power, and then I ran a new line for the recessed lighting off of that power line. I did this by connecting all the neutral or white wires together, including my new line, and then I connected all the hot or black wires together, but then ran a wire from the black wires to the switch, and then the black wire from my new line to the switch. It sounds complicated because I'm not doing a very good job at explaining it, but here's a representation I made in MS Paint of what I did. I went from where the switch is to controlling the power and going to the outlets, to where the outlet has power and now a switch is controlling the light, and as you can see, the stick figure is extremely impressed. Once that was all wired up, I put all the wires back into the junction box and screwed the switch in. I then ran lines from all the holes to each other and used the provided connectors in the junction box to connect each light. Before setting in the lights, I turned the power back on to verify every light was wired correctly, as well as the outlets. One thing that was cool about these lights was I was able to control the type of light that they emitted. So once I figured out the type I wanted, I tucked the wires into the junction box and then attached the lights to the drywall ceiling. I then attached the switch faceplate and the project was complete.
Like and subscribe.